Right, well this is part 2 of my Stanmore ramble, and I'll just put myself on camera just for a second. There I am, look at that. And that's why I don't do videos with my face on very often, because I don't, it's not the sort of thing I do. Other people are better at doing it than I am, and you don't. I think sometimes when I'm doing videos, it's about the stuff that I'm videoing, not me. So I'm going to take that off camera because it wasn't even on me in the first place. Let's just, and back to the thing that I was doing. So this is Stanmore Country Park. It's part of Stanmore Country Park. I'm going off the beaten path slightly, but just to give you an idea, it's that aeroplane that's just flying through there. That's come out of Elstree probably, which is not too far from here. So when I come out here, I mean, it's just not far from where I live and where I've lived for more than a decade now. So I live just a stop down the line. But it always strikes me, it's best in the summer, obviously. But you just think, my God, this is just on my doorstep. And it shows you Londoners are very, very bad at actually taking advantage of what is sitting. You know, they take it for granted that this stuff is sitting there. And I know, I'm guilty of it myself. I've lived in London for many, many, many years. And it's very easy to say, oh, I'll do that another day. You know, and you just don't get around to it because other things just happen. But, you know, when you do make that just effort, thinking, well, this afternoon I just thought I've got to get out of the house because it's a very hot, stuffy day. It's more than 30 degrees. This is the end of June when we've had this hot patch. And I just thought, oh, I've got to get out of the flat. Neighbours were making a lot of noise, and I just had to get out and get a bit of fresh air. And just sort of lose myself for a little while. God, that sounds bad, doesn't it? But yeah, so I'm heading now towards, because it's very difficult for me to point out. Over that distance there is the London road that takes you towards Cannon's Corner, and ultimately, if you go from Cannon's Corner down into Edgware, down Stone Grove, but out towards this way, going out that way, you'll be going towards Elstree and into Hertfordshire proper. So we are on the hinterland. We are on the sort of outside periphery of London. We are actually right now in the London borough of Harrow, but it's not too far from here that you'll end up actually into Hertfordshire. So, or Hertsmere. So I'm going to stop there and then pick up. I'm just going to pause in real time and then pick up as I got past these trees. Let's just pick up again actually. It's very cloudy. It looks like it's going to rain, and I hope to God it doesn't. But I was just saying to myself, stick to the path, like the bit out of American Werewolf in London. You know, don't veer from the path, because you'll be surprised the number of times I've actually been lost in Stanmore Country Park. There's not a lot of it, but once you're into the trees and stuff, it's very easy to go off the path and find yourself lost. And I'm saying that now, and to be honest with you, I'm wondering how I get through these. Maybe I can't. It should do. I mean, if I stick to the path, it should do, shouldn't it? This is very much John Rogers. This is, to be honest with you, he gets lost, but he makes a virtue of it. You see, he'll make a virtue. So I think following this beaten path. I mean, I've probably done this before. I know I have. But where do I go? Do I go back on a circuit on myself? I don't really want to do that because I've just been there. So I reckon I'm going to go through here, and it should actually take me through to somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, so I've gone through that little bit, and I remember doing this before. See, on that side, there's a little chain link fence, and that's private property. That's someone's garden or something, or their estate. It's just a bit annoying, actually, because there's a distinct lack of signage. And it's obviously only if you are a proper local and you've lived here years, you know instinctively where you're supposed to go. I can't remember. I mean, if I'm right and I remember it, I ended up going all around, not their houses, but around the trees. And you end up at the orthopaedic hospital up on the hill. The National Orthopaedic Hospital, which is not far from here. And that could happen again. I hope it doesn't. Oh, squirrel going up the tree. 2 squirrels going up the tree there. Yeah, this is fun, isn't it? I'm on my own and I don't know where I am. Well, I do know where I am, but I just... So I go that way and I don't know where it ends up. I go that way and I don't know where it ends up. If I'm right, the chain link fence finishes and then you get out. If I'm wrong, it doesn't, and I go back on myself. God, that's annoying. I was annoyed probably the last time I did this. Thrilling video, eh? You know, I really must watch more of Mark's videos where he gets completely lost or just waffles himself out of existence. Yeah, let's just pause this second. Right, so now I come to this sort of gate, whatever you want to call it. Whatever these are called, where you go through there and then you close it. They always squeak. They always squeak. So where does that go? No signs or anything. So you have to sort of go instinctively where you think you should. So now there is one advantage doing this in the summer, is that it's not muddy. And I know that when I've done this in the past, it's been really muddy and I had to give up. You can see that it gets quite muddy. But let's keep going. So yeah, this is private property, although someone seems to have smashed their way through there. God knows. Round and round. Yes, Harrow Council, someone take note, you do need to put some signage in. It's not very fair, really, because you're on public, accessible, and then it just stops, almost like it's been done deliberately. So yeah, we've got private property. There you are, look. Keep out. I don't like people, keep out. So, I'm going round the outside. Round the outside. And we have another gatepost. I think civilization beckons. All is saved. Apart from this. State of this, look. Again, Harrow Council, take note. Now you could go through there, but that's just another piece of, I mean, just for the sake of the camera. Loads of hose, it's almost like that's been fly tipped. So, and I now can feel a little sting on my leg, because I'm wearing shorts, you see. I think I might have brushed against some nettles. Bloody nettles everywhere. Right, that was fun. So we are now out into a bit of blowing off the moths. Now, onto a piece of open land. I know where I am. I've just seen a burnt out structure. Yeah, this used to be a golf range. Up until about 5 or 6 years ago, when there was a big fire and it burnt down, and you can see the structure, which looks like a steel structure of what used to be the clubhouse, but it's all burnt out. And you can see in the distance, let me just close in on it, these are where the mesh fences were, because it was a shooting range, so there would have been netting between those. That's all gone now. I mean, anybody who think this is ancient history, it's not. I'm not joking. Literally, if you'd come here 10 years ago, that was all there and it was still operating. But I think there was a funny period after COVID when it shut down. And I can only assume that whoever owns this land is probably hoping at some point or other that they'll be able to sell it and make some money. So I'm going only as far as I think I can, because I don't like really walking through bits of land that are not public access. Not much of a rebel, but it's just, you never know what you're going to encounter. And yeah, I don't really fancy it very much. But yeah, you can see, look, so this is the old clubhouse. So such was the intensity of the fire that it all sort of folded in, which is a lot of metal there. That is a bit surprising. I just seen an aeroplane taking off from Elstree or Aldenham. Right, I think it's time I went back on myself. Hold on, picking up again. This is over that way. There is a hill that goes up to the National Orthopaedic Hospital, and that's called Brockley Hill. So that rises up from Cannon's Corner. So I know that because of the golf course, the golf shooting range. And I probably could cut through there and end up on Brockley Hill, but I don't want to do that because that's another walk. So I'm going to play safe, because I'm boring. I'm going to play safe, and I'm going to go back the way I came because I know it will take me out to some housing. And that is a video that I have done before. One thing I was going to say is, these are poplar trees, right? And poplar trees, from my experience, they are usually, I mean, they grow all over the place, obviously they do, but they were planted around the outside of Royal Air Force bases, active airfields, because the way they would break the wind, breaking wind. And so therefore, there are in fact actually some poplar trees around in Colindale that are like that. Just letting that man pass through. Yes, because they on an airfield in the old days, you needed to reduce the sort of crosswinds and stuff, and that's when you had like old planes, like propeller airplanes. So I'm not saying there was an airfield here, far from it, but there was a military installation, which I have talked about before in a previous video. If I can remember, I'll put the link to that. So I'm going back to the path with the rickety bridge, or whatever that is. I might have to do a part 3 video. Thrilling stuff. That's because there is a limit really to how much stuff I can bang onto YouTube, I think. So I usually aim for about 15 minutes max. So through the gate, for a sense of completeness. And then that takes us out here to a development of houses that was put on the site of a former Ministry of Defence state site, which was put up at the end of the Second World War, and it was, I think, intentionally supposed to be something to do with the Special Operations Executive. So that was, they would have had the early forms of computers in there for code breaking, but because the war ended, they didn't actually facilitate it for that, to my knowledge, and it was used for I think it was used for the Navy, actually. I mean, it was just another facility that they could put people and bits of kit in and stuff like that. And it ended also, towards the end of its life, it was where the RAF recruiting centre was, in terms of all the paperwork. So this was all government land. And it was sold off in the 1990s to a developer. And they built all this lot, which, I mean, to be honest with you, is nicer than some horrible sort of jerry-built ministry development, which was pretty much redundant as soon as they built it, in my opinion, my very humble opinion. So I'm going to finish off there on this particular video, which joins up to the first one, which was me rambling my way through Stanmore Country Park from Stanmore Station. So that's the part 1 of this lot, and then if you're very, very lucky, there is going to be a part 3.